Hey tarot friends, it's Dustin from A Modern Metaphysic Man, and today I thought we could hang out and take a trip through the Forest of Enchantment Tarot by Lunaea, Weatherstone, and Meraylah, Allwood. This is a deck that I was very on the fence about getting, actually. It's been rather popular amongst sort of the tarot YouTube space, and you know, it would go on and off my wish list, on and off, on and off, on and off, back and forth for some time, because I already have the Tarot of the Hidden Realm by Julia Jeffrey and Barbara Moore, which has a similar sort of aesthetic to it. This is a little bit more of a Fae-based deck, but it's an absolutely beautiful deck. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I really need another sort of fairy tale foresty, earthy deck. But then I saw a lot of the fairy tale references in this, and I was like, okay, I need that, because I love grim fairy tales, and there were some very direct grim fairy tale references. So I picked it up, and yeah, it's a wonderful little deck. As always, I'll put links in the description box below where you can find out more about this deck, where you can pick it up for yourself, along with all of my own social media links where you can reach out and connect with me, and a link to my website where you can book a personal reading with me. So be sure to check all that out at the end of the video. So yeah, let's dive into this. The Forest of Enchantment Tarot. It is a Llewellyn published deck, so it comes in one of their pretty standard boxes now with the magnetic closure. It's a nice box, you know. It has a little description here on the back. I'm not going to read it to you, with some examples of the cards. You know, decent boxes. I like these. Part of me likes these sets because of the books that comes with them, but there's another part of me that despises these sets because of this tray. If there was a way for them to make this tray not suck as much as it does, I would probably like these better. I mean, it is nice that they give you the little ribbon now, and you know, it has this nice little art on the inside, and I mean, they are improving it, but it's still just a cardboard tray. It doesn't really hold the cards in, but you know, it is what it is. So now, let's see, put this over here. The book that it comes with is really nice, full color illustrations, and it goes through the minor arcana in all of the sort of numerological groups, which is a little different. So it does deviate slightly from the RWS, although it does pretty well stick to, you know, the key concepts of the Waitsmith deck. There are a few titles in the deck that have changed, and we'll see that as we do the walkthrough. But you know, it's a really good guidebook. It has really great information. It has a nice introduction to both the author and the artist right in the front, which I love. The thing that I loved about this guidebook too, and the fact that this is here, is that I learned that the artist is a member of the Royal Miniature Society, as it says right here. And it's a group of miniature painters, basically, that paint tiny little paintings. And so it's interesting because the paintings in this deck are actually about the same size as the cards themselves, which I just thought was fantastic. So, you know, I'm really enjoying the new sort of setup of the way they're doing these books. You know, in the beginning you have some basic information about the deck, you know, care and feeding of your deck, which is, you know, talking about like cleansing and things like that. You know, having, you know, sort of like frequently asked questions section. You know, it's just really good for anyone who's new, and it's kind of interesting to go through those as a seasoned reader as well, because it kind of gives you different perspectives. So it's a great little book. I highly recommend checking it out. It does have a couple little spreads in it, and it has this little journal section at the back for notes, which is nice. So yeah, it's a lovely book. The cards themselves, so these are the card backs. They are standard tarot size, so you know, no bigger, no smaller than your average tarot deck. This is a card from the Modern Spellcasters Tarot, right? Same size. The cardstock, however, actually, I'm going to pull this back over, is different. They've changed their cardstock again. So they've gone back to more of a semi-matte finish, which I prefer. I very much prefer this finish. You can really see it, like, you can really see the glare on the older cardstock that is that more glossy cardstock, and this is a little bit more subtle, right? It's not as shiny. So it's a really nice, semi-matte, which is similar to the older way that they used to print their cards in the 90s, but the cardstock is still that thin Llewellyn cardstock, which is great to bridge if you're a riffle shuffler. But, some people aren't a huge fan. It's not, I don't know, it's not as thin as some people make it out to be, but it's fine for an inexpensive deck. I mean, I paid $17 US for this, so I'm not really going to complain. So yeah, let's take a dive into the cards. We'll do our usual little flip through, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about some of the things that stand out to me, all right? So this is the Forest of Enchantment Tarot by Lunaea Weatherstone and Meraylah Allwood. So that is the Forest of Enchantment tarot. It's absolutely beautiful artwork. These paintings are just breathtaking and stunning. She has done quite a few illustrations for different books, fantasy books and things like that, so you can really tell that it's definitely her style. And they're exquisite. They're really well done. I love the artwork in this deck, and it's the biggest reason why I purchased this deck. It has a very earthy feel. It reminds me a lot of the Renaissance Festival, ironically enough, which is like my home away from home. So that's probably another reason why I picked it up. And I actually enjoy some of the departures that they chose to make in this deck. I like the idea of the White Hart being the Fool and going through the journey of the forest with him, ending in the World card. I thought that was really, a wonderfully unique sort of take on the Fool's journey. I love the changes of, the celestial bodies of the sun and the moon and the star being changed to the light of those, which I thought was really fantastic. I flippin' love this tower. This tower is just, it's amazing. The symbolism that's in here, and just the imagery of, the idea that this tower needs to fall in order for something, new to grow in this space is just really wonderful. So I really enjoy it, suspension for the Hanged Man, which he's like suspended in like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Amber, which is kind of cool. It's just really wonderful takes. The fairy wind, or the Fey wind instead of the chariot. It's really well. I love this Hierophant card because it's not the usual like stoic, grumpy old man Hierophant that's like intimidating. You get the sense of tradition with this card without the sort of negative connotation that I think comes along with it for a lot of people when it comes to the Hierophant. The Forest Lord instead of the Emperor. So, everything kind of is themed appropriately, but still is true to the tarot. The Enchanter instead of, the Magus. It's really well done, and you can tell they put a lot of thought and effort into these major cards. The Minor Arcana is pretty cool. I like the changes of the suits from your traditional wands are now spells. Boons are what were formerly pentacles or coins. Swords are challenges now, and visions are cups, right? So those words still kind of are directly correlated to the traditional suits, but are very unique to this deck, which I think, again, you can tell that they really thought that out, and it's really good, solid choices. I do have a little bit, and one of the reasons why the deck went on and off of my list was the fact that they changed swords to challenges, because to me it puts a really negative spin on that suit. And although that suit probably has the most negatively aspected cards out of all of the suits, it's not an entirely negative suit, right? Although I think that the choice of the word challenge here is probably the best one that they could have made, right? I think if it was anything else that was negatively aspected, I probably wouldn't have gone for it. But challenges are things that we can overcome, right? They're things that we face in everyday life. They're things that we have to push through. They're things that, generally change us for the better. And so when I looked at it from that perspective, that's kind of what helped me get past that. And the cards are really wonderful. The depictions on them still kind of speak, Ten of Swords, right? Usually, traditionally, a figure with 10 swords on his back, betrayed, right? Here we have this knight who's just broken and old, right? And almost betrayed by society, right? Knights are supposed to be these chivalric, heroic figures who we you know, in our minds picture eternally youthful, and you know, they go to save the princess and all, but here we have this old man who's obviously who's obviously, you know, seen battle. He's got blood on his chainmail, right? And he seems broken, right? All of his armor is broken. He's missing most of it. He's barely got shoes on. His poor horse's saddle is ragged and tattered. His sword is broken and laying at his feet, and just the look and expression on his face, right? All of those things still evoke the same sort of intuitive and you know, card specific meanings that we see in the RWS, but in a very unique way for this deck, which I just thought was really well done. Like, the artists really took the time to think about how they were depicting these cards in this world, right? What does this card mean in this world, right? The 8 of spells, the 8 of wands, typically 8 wands shooting through the air, right? Here we have owls, you know, speaking to the movement and things like that, but also speaking to the fact that, you know, sometimes patience is a virtue and you need to be wise about when you move fast, things like that, right? 7 of boons, 7 of cups, right? A whole bunch of doors, you know, as your choices, you know, to pick from. I just love the expression on this man's face for the 6 of spells, which is the 6 of wands, the 5 of boons, which is the 5 of coins, right? You know, you still get that sense of that churchyard, right? And those poor people stranded out in the snowstorm, you know, but the warmth is right behind them, right? And all they need to do is just turn around and go inside, and they'll find the assistance and the help they need, right? 5 of visions, which is the 5 of cups. Again, you still get all of the same meaning from the RWS, but here we have this very, very direct link to classical fairy tales. And it's cards like this that just really, you know, grabbed my heart, because I love classical fairy tales. You know, 4 of challenges, 4 of swords, right? Very traditionally, it looks nothing like this, but you still get that sense of like rest, in inner respite, and finding, you know, that last bit of energy inside of you, and you know, all of those sorts of ideas that go along with the 4 of swords, right, are very much reflected in this card. So I really think they did an excellent job at I love this, the 3 bears for the 3 of visions. I think they really did a great job. Here we have the 3 of spells, right, of finding things that really depict the cards and the tarot in a really magical way that fit this world, and it's really well done. I love this 2 of boons, right? 2 of coins, the idea of juggling your resources, but the potential of unforeseen challenges ahead, right? Here we have the troll, right? And there's, you know, we all know that the troll under the bridge, you got to pay the toll, right? So, you know, it's all there, which I really, really, really love. The aces in this deck are exceptionally beautiful. You know, the ace of boons, which is our, again, coins, ace of challenges, which is swords, ace of visions, which is beautiful, which is our ace of cups, right? What's in your cup? And I love the fact that the reflection is, you know, sort of like the what's in your cup, right? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, right? That sort of idea. And the ace of spells. So it's just really beautifully done. I really appreciate the attention to detail, not only in the artwork, but in the choices made in the artwork that depict and evoke the meanings of the tarot. Now, that being said, let's go to the court, because I do have a bone to pick with the court. The court cards are really beautiful. They're really well done. So for the pages, we have children, which I think is, you know, a great, I love this depiction of Hansel, right, from Hansel and Gretel, you know, at the witch's cottage made of sweets, you know, for the pentacles, right? The child of challenges, the you know, the page of swords, you know, page of cups, and Page of Wands. I think all of these work really well. The knights are probably some of my favorite. I love that we didn't go with all traditional sort of manly knights in armor for this. So we have our seekers, so they're all called seekers, seeker of boons. I love the seeker of challenges as the Black Knight. I love the seeker of visions and the seeker of spells. It's just perfect. I love that we have both men and women depicted in that. Now our queens are our weavers, which are just lovely. I very much get like a White Queen Narnia vibe from this card, which I love. I love this Weaver of Visions and kind of how she's turning into a mermaid, and the Weaver of Spells where it looks like, you know, she's kind of levitating and kind of like transforming almost into a flower. But then we get to the kings, and this is probably my biggest gripe or complaint with this deck. And that is the fact that, you know, I love the Keeper of Spells, the King of Wands. I love the Keeper of Boons, the King of Coins, right? He has this beautiful home with all these crystals. Like, I want to be this guy. He lives like in this, look at this place. This place is awesome. It's got his badger buddy. You know, you have your Keeper of Challenges, the Keeper of Swords, or the King of Swords, who, you know, obviously has been through some stuff. And then we have a fish. The only core card in the entire deck that is depicted as an animal. And I still really struggle with this. And I've read the book, and the book gives some illumination as to why this choice was made, but it's so out of place with everything else in the deck that it's just, why a fish, right? And you get the sense that the king has transformed into this fish, right? You have this like magical sparkly bits coming off of it and things like that. But for me, I would have loved so much more to have seen, even if it was like a merman, right? Something similar to the queen, right? Where, you know, you still have that aqueous sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? That nod to water, right? That you're getting here with the fish, but still a figure. I think I would have preferred that. But that's really my biggest complaint with this deck is this card right here. It's not enough of an issue that I won't read with it. I definitely still enjoy the deck. But it's just very much an aesthetic thing with me where it's just like, you know, where's Waldo? Right there. One thing is not like the others. It's this one. So, you know, hopefully, maybe if they ever reprint this deck in another edition, maybe this will get changed. I just wish it was a figure. So yeah, that is the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. I would love to know what you guys think about this deck. I've really been enjoying the readings with this. They're very warm. They're very friendly and comforting, and they give me these you know, sort of feelings of being at home and you know, in a world that I grew up in, which is, you know, high fantasy and fairy tales and things like that. So I love it. I love it so much, and I'm really glad that I got it and I gave it a chance. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this deck. I would love to know. And as always, thank you guys so much for your love and your support. I super appreciate it. I can't thank you guys enough. And yeah, remember, everyone's fighting a battle that you know nothing about. So be kind, always. Bye, everybody.